Hey guys, it's Bree. I wanted to talk to you about Ancillary Sword by Leckie. If you have been around my channel for a while, you might have seen my review of Ancillary Justice, which is Leckie's debut novel. It won the Hugo Award last year and was kind of just all over the place for quite a while. I liked it. I really liked the idea and some of the conceptual things that Leckie talked about in her first book. It's all about identity and self-contained conflict and moral ambiguity. This second novel picks up a lot of those themes, but it is an entirely kind of different work. It has a lot of different approaches. It talks about some different and more topical things. And I think it is a lot more approachable as a novel. So let's get to it. Ancillary Sword picks up where Ancillary Justice left off. So Ananda Manai has broken off into factions, and Breck is left to kind of pick up the pieces and keep everything stable. She still really resents Ananda, but is bound by duty and the desire to be better than those who rule the world. And in doing so, she is made a fleet captain and sent to stabilize a system that's a couple of gates away. So the gates are like, you know, jump through Stargate gates. Oh, if that made any sense at all. And so she's sent to this kind of outer system, trying to keep it stable. And once she gets there, she still has Sivardin on her side, but she's stuck with this new baby lieutenant called Tisarwat, who's 17, and, you know, Breck is kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do with this kid? She kind of gets shoved into taking Tisarwat with her by Ananda. And she's trying to really come to terms with having to be responsible for the care and maintenance of this system while still being extremely angry. She still doesn't know necessarily how to deal with Ananda's kind of mental break. And she's trying to kind of keep that from people while at the same time telling people who need to know, and having to be the person who decides who needs to know and how much they need to know. All while battling social injustice. It's quite the book. So it still deals with gender in that interesting way, which is that all people are referred to as she. I found this to be significantly less overwhelming in the second book. Part of that might be because I already read the first one, so it's not necessarily a brand new thing to me. Part of it, I think, really has to do with the fact that because Breck isn't changing languages too much, you don't switch back and forth between her trying and kind of failing to give the right genders for people in other languages, and also going back to a language where they only use the feminine pronoun. So that doesn't really take place, which I found to be one of the most complicated parts of the first novel, especially because in the first novel, Leckie doesn't always tell you when she's switching back and forth. The idea of Breck being kind of a single ancillary when she once was many really becomes a bigger part of the story, I think, in this particular novel. It's something that she really has to grapple with, particularly because of some of the new characters that come aboard who have similar problems and who really have to face being different, being no longer who they were. And they have to turn to Breck in order to help them kind of through that. And Breck has to mature and become more comfortable with who she is now as opposed to who she used to be. I really found that to be a very satisfying plot point in this particular book. Brooke really does become kind of like a warrior for social justice in this particular book. A lot of that is attributed to the fact that she was in fact a ship, and as a ship she wants to see what's best for everyone. A lot of it also has to do with the fact that the characters who are, you know, suffering from injustice are in fact citizens, and so she has to put that right in order to maintain an overall stable system, even if it disrupts the part of the system that she is in. And also just because she's trying to do the right thing, and she's trying to really be better than Anander. And I thought that was interesting. I didn't necessarily always think it was necessary, and that there are a lot of different threads to that. When I thought at times that maybe just having the one main social justice kind of battle could have been more focused and perhaps a little bit more clear. There is introduced into the story what's called the Ghost Gate, which is, they have interdimensional, I think is probably the best term, gates, where you can kind of jump around space, and one of them is called the Ghost Gate. There's supposed to have never been anything on the other side, and all of a sudden kind of debris is coming through the Ghost Gate, and Breck is intrigued by this, not overly worried, but certainly it's been drawn to her attention. And it kind of leaves off with this question of what's on the other side of the Ghost Gate, and is it really as empty as we've been saying? And I thought that that was really interesting, and that I'm not sure how Leckie is going to tie that into the resolution of Anander's plotline. And I wasn't necessarily sure that it's going to lead us to somewhere cohesive. I'm sure she has a long game. I just can't see it right now. I'm just not sure where we're necessarily going with it. And it kind of, in that way, it feels almost like an entirely different story from what we started out with in Ancillary Justice. Like I said, I found this book to be much better in pacing and approach and approachability and character development. But it was kind of a plot point where I'm not sure how we're going to tie the two together. So that is perhaps my biggest criticism. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I liked this book, and I'll be honest, I liked it a lot better than the first one. I would love to hear what you guys think about this book. It's been out for quite a while now. And I haven't really looked at anybody's reviews. I try not to do that before I make my own review, because I want to come to my opinions about a book independently and then see how they come to terms with other people's. So I would love to hear what you guys think of it if you've read it. I would love to hear what you guys think is going to happen in the third book. That, I think, is going to be really interesting to see. I'm interested to see how Leckie pulls those two together. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you're having a fantastic reading week. Again, let me know what you think down in the comments. Bye.